Welcome in, everyone. Kitching things off today with a deep dive into AI ethics, really honing in on how it's impacting business decisions, especially yours.
It's interesting how AI ethics has gone from, a niche concept to a boardroom priority. I'm seeing a real shift. It's not just about avoiding bad press anymore. Companies are realizing that ethical AI can actually be a huge advantage for them, a real business advantage.
Right. It's a fascinating evolution for sure.
Yeah.
For anyone listening who's maybe new to this whole thing, could you give us a rundown of the main principles of ethical AI? Why is it so important, and how does it actually play out in everyday business?
At its core, AI ethics is about making sure that AI technologies are developed and used responsibly. It's a framework, a set of guidelines to guarantee that AI benefits both businesses and society as a whole without causing, hopefully, any unintended harm or consequences. It's like a roadmap for navigating this pretty complex landscape.
Yeah, it's like having a moral compass for your AI,
Yeah.
right? Making sure it lines up with your company values and operates within those boundaries. One thing I'm seeing consistently across these reports is that there's a real risk for businesses that choose to just ignore AI ethics. It's not a checkbox. It's a whole different way of thinking.
You're absolutely right. The implications are huge. Companies are leaving themselves open to legal problems, not to mention the damage to their reputation. Ultimately, businesses that brush aside ethical AI, they risk losing the trust of their stakeholders, their customers, their employees, even investors. And that trust, once it's gone, it's really hard to earn back.
Absolutely. We've all seen the headlines, algorithm goes rogue, or AI bias causes outrage. No company wants to be in that position.
Yeah.
It's about reducing risk for sure, but it's also about seeing the potential upside of ethical AI.
Exactly. Ethically sound AI can actually improve a brand's reputation, attract and keep great talent, even open up new markets and opportunities. There's a real competitive edge to be gained by really integrating these principles.
So it's not just playing defense, it's about recognizing the strategic advantage of building ethically responsible AI from the very beginning. So where do these ethical dilemmas actually pop up in the business world? What are some real-world examples that show these challenges in action?
Okay, let's take recruitment as an example. Loads of companies are now using AI to streamline hiring, but if these systems are being trained on data that's already biased, well, it can actually perpetuate those biases, excluding qualified candidates because of things like gender, race, or even their socioeconomic background.
And we've seen cases of this happening, right? Where AI recruitment tools that were supposed to get rid of bias ended up actually reinforcing it.
Yeah, exactly. A perfect example is the AI recruiting tool that Amazon had to scrap. The system was trained on resumes that were mostly from men, which led it to favor male candidates. This just highlights how crucial it is to have diverse and representative data sets. It's not enough to just have more data, it's about making sure the data accurately reflects the real world and all its complexities.
It's about quality over quantity when it comes to data. Making sure that the data you're feeding your AI isn't carrying forward those historical biases, which can really hurt your chances of building a truly inclusive and innovative workforce.
That's it. Diverse teams, diverse perspectives, those aren't just trendy buzzwords, they're good for business. They lead to innovation, better problem solving, and ultimately a stronger bottom line.
So ethical AI in recruitment means being intentional about building those diverse data sets, ensuring your algorithms aren't just replicating existing inequalities. What other areas should businesses be thinking about? Where else are these ethical considerations really important?
Let's move over to the financial sector. We're seeing AI transforming everything from credit scores to loan approvals. The potential for things to go wrong is huge if we're not careful.
You're talking about algorithms making decisions that have a very real impact on people's finances. That's a huge responsibility.
Exactly. We're talking about AI systems that decide creditworthiness, whether someone qualifies for a loan. These algorithms, if they're trained on historical data that already reflects existing inequalities, they can actually make those inequalities worse, potentially trapping people in a cycle of financial disadvantage. It's critical to address this right from the start.
It's about building fairness into the systems themselves. So how do you do that? How do you guarantee that these AI-powered systems are making decisions that are both equitable and impartial?
Transparency is key. Businesses have to be open about how their algorithms work, especially when it comes to decisions that have such a profound effect on people's lives. It's not enough to just have an algorithm. You have to be able to explain the reasoning behind its decisions.
It's about accountability.
Mm.
If a system produces a result that is biased or unfair, there has to be a way to fix that, to address those problems and ensure it doesn't happen again.
Exactly. Accountability is really the most important thing when it comes to ethical AI. It's about making it clear who's responsible for what. Like, if an algorithm makes a decision, especially one with big consequences, businesses need a way to trace it back, understand why it made that decision, and have ways to fix things if the outcome is unfair or shows bias.
So you're talking about putting those safeguards in place right from the get-go, making sure there's a system of checks and balances to stop potential harm and make sure everything's fair. Are there any, like, specific strategies or best practices that companies can use to really bake these ethical considerations into how they develop AI?
Absolutely. One practical step is setting up an AI ethics committee. Think of it like an internal watchdog, a group that's responsible for making sure AI is developed and used ethically across the entire organization.
So this committee would be the ones making sure ethical considerations are dealt with at every single stage, from the initial design and data gathering all the way to deployment and beyond, right?
You got it. They'd be setting the standards, developing internal guidelines, reviewing AI projects, and even providing training, which is crucial because this field is changing so rapidly.
It's about making sure your employees have the knowledge and tools to handle this constantly evolving landscape responsibly, equipping them to spot potential issues, ask the right questions, and really champion ethical decision-making.
Precisely. And the training needs to be ongoing, not just a one-time thing. Employees at every level, from the developers to the executives, need to stay up to date with the latest ethical guidelines, understand best practices, and be aware of potential risks.
It's about cultivating a culture of ethical AI throughout the entire company. What else can companies do to stay ahead of the game, to show that they're not just talking about ethical AI, but actually weaving it into everything they do?
This is where keeping up with changing regulations is really important. We're seeing more and more laws specifically designed to make sure AI is developed and used responsibly. Businesses need to know about these developments and make sure their AI systems are following the rules.
The EU's AI Act is a perfect example of this, right? It's being called a potential game changer because it categorizes AI systems based on how risky they are and outlines specific requirements for high-risk applications.
Absolutely. It's setting a global standard for AI regulation. Businesses that prioritize compliance, especially with regulations like the AI Act, are showing everyone they're serious about ethical AI, which can boost their reputation and build trust with both customers and regulators.
It's about being proactively accountable, demonstrating to the world that you're taking these ethical considerations to heart and making them a core part of your operations. It's just smart business, not just an ethical obligation.
You hit the nail on the head. It's not just about avoiding bad press. It's about building trust with consumers, attracting the best talent, and solidifying your position as a leader in your industry, a responsible one.
So, it's a win-win. Ethical AI is not just the right thing to do, it's good business. We've talked about some key principles of ethical AI throughout this conversation, things like fairness, accountability, transparency, and privacy. Let's dive into those a little deeper, give our listeners some real takeaways they can actually use.
Sounds good. Let's start with fairness. When we're talking about AI, fairness means eliminating bias in all its forms. It's about developing AI systems that make impartial decisions, no matter someone's background, demographics, or anything else that could lead to unfair treatment.
This brings us back to how crucial data is, doesn't it? If your AI is learning from biased data, you're going to get biased results. Fairness starts with creating data sets that are diverse and truly representative.
Exactly. You can't have fair algorithms without fair data. It's the foundation. But it's not just about having a variety of data. It's about designing the algorithms themselves to be fair, to spot and reduce bias at every step of the process.
And transparency is really important here, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. Transparency builds trust. It means being open about how your AI systems work, the data they use, how they make decisions. This is especially important when AI is used in ways that directly affect people's lives, like loan applications or healthcare.
People need to know that there's a human-centered approach, that these systems aren't just operating in a black box, making life-altering decisions without any oversight or explanation. And that ties into accountability too, right?
For sure. Accountability is about owning up to what your AI does. It's about having clear lines of responsibility, ways to audit your systems, and a solid plan to deal with any potential harm that might come up.
That's where having that AI ethics committee is so important, that group that can monitor, evaluate, and adjust course if they need to. They're like a safety net, making sure the company's AI practices are actually lining up with its ethical promises.
You got it. They're crucial for actually putting those principles of fairness, transparency, and accountability into practice. But it's bigger than just what happens within one company. We're at a point where the whole industry needs to work together. This isn't something any single company can solve on its own.
That makes sense. We're all figuring this out as we go.
Right.
There's a real need to share what we're learning, agree on some common standards, a real team effort to make sure AI is used ethically and responsibly. So what does that collaboration actually look like, practically speaking?
We're seeing some really promising stuff happening, like organizations like the IE with their global initiative on ethics of autonomous and intelligent systems. They're working on establishing universal ethical frameworks for AI that can be used across industries.
That's great. Having those standardized guidelines is so helpful. It provides clarity and consistency, makes it easier for businesses to navigate this whole complex landscape. What other initiatives are out there shaping the future of ethical AI?
Well, the OECD, the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, they're another big player. They're all about promoting trustworthy AI. Their guidelines really focus on human rights, fairness, transparency, accountability, and the importance of keeping humans in the loop.
So these are global organizations working on a global scale. It sounds like there's a growing agreement internationally that ethical AI isn't optional anymore. It's a must-have.
Definitely. And it's not just governments and international groups. The big tech companies are getting on board too. They're setting up their own internal AI ethics boards, creating ethical codes of conduct, and really pushing for responsible AI practices.
It's about walking the walk, not just talking the talk, right? When these companies build these principles into their own operations, they're setting a powerful example for everyone else.
Exactly. Your actions have to match your words. And there's a business case for this too. Companies that put ethical AI first, they're positioning themselves as the responsible leaders, building that trust with their stakeholders and attracting the best talent out there.
It's not about just dodging bad press. It's about building a business model that's sustainable for a future that's powered by AI.
Exactly. And as we wrap up our deep dive today, I think that's a really key takeaway. Ethical AI isn't just about avoiding risk. It's about creating a future where AI makes things better for everyone, where it's used to solve problems, drive innovation, and build a world that's more equitable and prosperous for everyone.
This has been a fascinating conversation, and I think you've given our listeners a lot to think about as they find their way in this rapidly changing world. Any final thoughts you want to leave us with?
As AI becomes more and more a part of our lives, we have a shared responsibility to make sure it's developed and used in a way that's guided by strong ethical principles. The decisions we make today are going to shape the world of tomorrow.
Powerful words to end on. It's a call to action for all of us to think critically, ask the tough questions, and really advocate for the responsible development and use of this technology that has the power to completely change things. And that's a wrap on this episode of The Deep Dive. Thank you for joining us on this insightful look at AI ethics. We'll be back next time, diving deep into another topic that's shaping the future of business. Until then, keep learning, keep asking those tough questions, and keep working to make AI a force for good in the world.